Go ahead and just start taking some nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And as you breathe and as you relax, remember you can lay any way you like. Stretch your legs out, bring your arms over your head, whatever feels comfortable for you. These initial breaths are just about allowing tension to roll off the body. And one thing it might be good to be mindful of, and this isn't just in class today, but throughout life. So very interestingly, your jaw is one of those joints that has the ability to impact all of the other joints in your body. So if you can relax your jaw as we're going through this early part of class, you may find there's a little ripple effect that goes all the way through your body. It's especially a great tip when you're going to sleep at night, especially if you tend to clench or grind your teeth. If you spend a minute breathing and relaxing your jaw, it will relax your whole body. So as we take these last few breaths of relaxation, let's think about letting the jaw go. And see if you can keep that tension out of your jaw while you begin to activate your core. So as you inhale, that core expands. And as you exhale, everything pulls inward towards your spine, nice and snug. We haven't done this for a while. If you want to, place your hands on either side of your chest so that as you breathe, you can really feel that side to side movement of the breath. So we inhale, the ribs expand right and left. And on the exhale, the two halves of the rib cage come in, hugging the spine. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. And you know, you can always keep your hands there as long as you like. Little tactile reminder, let them go if you don't need them. And then if you want to keep using your hands, take your hands, thumb and index and middle finger, and just kind of wrap your waist. Obviously, it doesn't have to wrap all of the way around your waist, but just thumb on the back end, index finger, middle finger on the front end, and find that same breath. So inhale, expand. It's going to start in your rib cage, but it's that exhale in particular that we want to feel in the waist. Inhale, expand. Exhale, feel that waist cinching in. And there's a really deep abdominal muscle that wraps around your center like a wide belt. And that's what we're activating when we really pull in, along with the other muscles, that deep muscle, which is postural, it's stabilizing. So now we'll move the hands to that low area, right between the hip bones, the low abdominals. And let's see if we can get that exhale to go all the way down there. So feeling that sensation of pulling inward through the low core. Inhaling, expanding. You may not feel much expansion low, but try to get that exhale to come down nice and low. And again, whenever you like, you can let your arms go. We're just going to do maybe 2 more of these, really focusing on getting the breath to travel the core. And then go ahead and keep your breath flowing. Bend your knees, place your feet flat, about hip or sitting bone distance apart. Let your shoulders spread out across your mat. And let's take an inhale, drop the tailbone toward the floor, lift the ribs up toward the ceiling. And then take that exhale, tip the pubic bone toward the ceiling, scoop and hollow out your center. Inhale, find that little arch. Exhale, scoop and hollow, find that rounding of your spine. Inhale, arch. Exhale, scoop and hollow. And we're going to do that about 3 more times, remembering scoop and hollow is our C curve. We'll spend a little bit of time there. The arch, other than right now, we won't come back to unless we happen to do cat-cow. So we're just going to go one more time through the arch. One more time through the C curve. And then see if you can find that neutral, that middle ground. And remember, if you want to take your thumbs to your low ribs, middle fingers to your hip bone points, in neutral, they should line up on the same plane. And then arms at our sides. Let's take an inhale. On the exhale, go through C curve up to bridge. Inhale, come to the top, line up the ribs and hips on an angle. And then exhale, go through C curve to roll it down. Inhale, find your neutral at the bottom. Exhale, roll it through that C curve to come up. Inhale, lengthen at the top. And then exhale, C curve it to roll down. We're just going to do that 3 more times. Rolling up and down. Going to check on our third person just to make sure he isn't having any trouble with the link. So it should be about 1 more bridge to go. And then whenever you finish that last bridge, go ahead and roll down, find your neutral, and then legs are going to come up to tabletop, 90 at the knee, 90 at the hip, lower rib cage anchored to the floor. Let's take one leg, tap down and lift up. So we're just taking our toe taps. Inhale on the tap, exhale on the lift. Inhale, tap, exhale, lift. And as always, if you feel like it, you can lay those hands between the hip bones and look for that lower core to contract with your exhale, just like we practiced before we started moving the body. And you'll get used to these moves. The warm-up stays pretty similar in this class, and then we mix up the middle, depending. So we're just going to do 1 more toe tap on each side, really focusing on getting that breath to travel the whole core. And then the legs are going to stay in tabletop. Arms are going to reach up toward the ceiling. Pull your shoulders down toward the floor. So we're going to take the right arm and the left leg. Arm is going to go overhead. Leg is going to reach out in front of you. And then we're going to pull back into where we started. Left arm, right leg. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull back. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull back. Most important thing is that the rib cage stays anchored to the floor. That might mean reaching your leg more upward than outward, but that rib cage stays anchored so there's none of that arching occurring. And we use that deep exhale to pull the limbs back in. If you wanted to keep the leg bent because you're feeling a lot in your hip flexors, you could bring it to a toe tap and do it that way. And we're just going to do 2 more on each side, exhaling as we pull it in. 1 more on each side. And then we're going to keep those legs in tabletop. Arms are going to open out, making that T. Shoulder blades press into the floor. Inhale, lower half rotates to one side. Exhale, use your core to bring it back up. Inhale, twist the other way. Exhale, use the core to bring it up. Inhale, twist. Exhale to come up. And this is where we can go back to focusing on that muscle that wraps your waist, your center, like a thick belt, a wide belt. See if you can activate that middle region of your core every time you pull up by exhaling into that belt and feeling it cinch around your spine. The only two ways to engage that muscle are breath and rotation. We're just going to go one more time each way, pressing that opposing shoulder blade into your mat. And then when you're ready, just give those knees a little hug into your chest, releasing the hip flexors, maybe a little rock side to side, releasing the back. And then we're going to bring our feet back down to the floor. So feet are about hip bone, sitting bone distance apart, arms are at our sides. Finding that nice long neutral spine. We're going to lift it up into bridge. Heels and knees line up. Make sure the weight is in the base of your shoulders so your head can gently turn side to side. And then create a unit from your chest to your pelvis that isn't going to bend one way or the other. Lower all the way to the floor and lift back up. So we inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift back up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift back up. If you notice yourself using your arms, flip your palms up toward the ceiling and think of pressing up through the heels and maybe through the base of the shoulder if that helps you keep your shoulders open rather than letting them lift away from the floor. And we're going to do that 4 more times. Exhaling up, inhaling down. We've got 2 more bridges to go. Next bridge, we're going to hold at the top, and we're going to find tiny little pulses up, up, up. Little exhale with every up, or you can inhale 2 pulses, exhale 2 pulses. And you can always check to make sure, even though we're on an angle, that those ribs and hip bones are aligned with each other. So we wouldn't want to push the hips up too high into an arch, nor would we want to tuck the pelvis under. Nice and neutral for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 more pulses. And then we're going to hold it at the top. We're going to take that right leg, lift it up into tabletop, and it's your toe tap, just like we did in warm up. We're going to tap the toe, lift, tap the toe, lift. Inhale down, exhale up. Hips are staying level. Both hips are lifting toward the ceiling. If you wanted just to do a full up and down in a 2-footed bridge, that's awesome. Or you could go back to regular toe taps. Last one. Take that right foot, bring it to the floor. Make sure you're level in your bridge. Take that left leg to your tabletop. And when you're ready, tap down, lift up. Inhale, exhale. Good. So you're just tapping the toes down to the floor and re-lifting, making sure that left hip is staying lifted and level with the right. This next one is our last. We're going to put that left foot down on the floor, gently lower down, hug those knees into the chest, quick little rock. And then we're going to come into V position. So same thing we use in a bar class. You guys know this. You're going to take your heels together, allow your knees and your toes to open to the corners. And you can be on the outer edges of your feet or flat on the soles of your feet. It's just a personal preference. Create that connection from chest to pelvis. And we lift all the way up and take it down. Exhale up. Inhale down, letting those thighs press open toward the sides of the mat. Keeping that rib hip connection intact. Exhaling up, inhaling down. Let's do 4 more. 3 more. We have 2 more. Next time, hold it at the top and little tiny pulses up, up, up. Keep pressing the thighs open. And you can always adjust. If before you were flat on the soles of your feet and now it feels a little better to open and roll to those outer edges, perfect. We're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 more pulses. We're going to hold it at the top. Press the hips up, squeeze the outer edges of your seat, and breathe into your core for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Hug those knees up into the chest. Little rock if you want it. And then feet are going to come down to the mat. We're going to find that neutral spine. Legs are going to come up to tabletop. And then we're going to take the knees and open them, making a diamond with the legs. So your feet are together. Could be your toes, could be the balls of the feet, whatever works best for you. But we've got those knees wide. So this is just like toe taps. You're going to take one leg down toward the floor and lift back up. Inhale down. Exhale up. It's just you're using the outer edge of the leg along with the core. If you feel gripping in your hips, it's okay just to go part way and lift up. Inhale down. Exhale up. Remember to glue those lower ribs down to the floor. We're going to do one more alternating on each leg. And you can keep with alternating, or if you want to, you can try both legs together. They lower together, lift together. Lower together, lift together. Inhale down. Exhale up. Remember, it's always okay to go back to alternating. Rib cage glues to the floor. We have just 4 more. Choose your range of motion. 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. We're going to lift that diamond up, hold it. Flex your feet so the heels are connected to each other. And you're going to push your legs out on an angle, squeezing them together, and then bend the knees back to diamond. So we exhale as we push out and squeeze. Inhale as we bend. Exhale, push and squeeze. Inhale to bend. So you're squeezing all the way from your inner thighs down to your heels. We have 4 more of these. 3 more. Feel those lower abdominals engage as you exhale and push out. I think we have 2 more. I may have added 1, but that's okay. We have 1 more. And then we get to hug those knees into the chest. If you want the rock, take the rock. And then take the feet back down to the floor just so you can reset that neutral spine. Take the legs through tabletop and extend up toward the ceiling, but only so much that you're keeping your hips on the floor. You don't want to lift your seat up off the mat. With soft bend in the knee if you need it. We're going to start just with our scissor. 1 leg up, 1 leg down. Bring the ribs, lower ribs, and pelvis connected to the floor. And it's a full breath every time you switch those legs. So full inhale, exhale, not very fast at all. Very controlled. If you feel like it, hands come behind the head. Head and shoulders give a little float off the mat. And we can add a little crisscross toward the leg that's coming in. Exhaling with the twist. Inhaling as you pass through the center. And And you can think again about that muscle, that deep muscle that wraps your center. See if you can contract it as you twist. And we'll go for 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Feel free to stretch your legs out on the floor, bring your arms overhead if you have space. You can always bend them, and just let your front side open up for a moment. Breathe. And then when you're ready, we'll gently, slowly bring ourselves up to a seated position. And we're just gonna start with knees bent. Feet can be flexed or relaxed, whatever works best for you. Hands are behind the thighs, and we're going to use our hands to sit up really nice and tall. So first, just working on that C curve. So inhale, lengthen your spine. And on the exhale, C curve. Low in that belly. Inhale, lengthen. Feel free to use the hands. Exhale, find the C curve. And if you remember, keep that going. When we were laying on the floor, there was no way to pull the head forward or round the shoulders in that C curve. So we want the same curve that we had when we were lying on our backs. It's from your lower ribs down. It's really your pelvis. Scooping and releasing. And we're going to do that just 2 more times. We've got 1 more. And then we're going to release the hands. And as we go into C curve, we're going to go back halfway to the mat. So we have an exhale and an inhale, lengthen. Exhale, C curve, pull that low belly in. Inhale, come up and lengthen the spine. Exhale, C curve. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, C curve, shoulders are down, away from the ears. Inhale, lengthen. We're going to do this 1 more time. And then we're going to go down to that halfway point, finding that C curve. And we're going to take the arms, and we're going to take one arm, pull back like you're shooting a bow and arrow. Other arm reaches forward and to center. Pull back and twist and center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. So you're scooping the center of your belly, hollowing it out, and you're adding that twist, pulling the shoulder blade of the bending arm back behind you. If this bothers your back, there's nothing wrong with doing the twist in a more upright position, focusing on that rotation. And we're just going to go 1 more time each way. And then we're going to release, cross legs or extend, and just give yourself a little fold forward, just to let your hip flexors relax. And then we have 1 more seated exercise that we're going to do. We're going to come into a reverse plank. We're going to start with the knees bent, feet flat on the floor. You're going to make your little L's with your hands. Bring them back behind you. Hands are a little wider than shoulder distance apart. And you can see my fingers are pointing toward the 2 corners in front of me in my room. Roll the shoulders back and down, open up the chest, and just hover your hips barely off the floor. So we're going to do a little tricep dip. So you're going to bend your elbows just an inch or so, and then press back up. Bend the elbows, press back up. Inhale and exhale. So the only reason that your hips move here is because your elbows are bending and lengthening. Chest is staying nice and open. You could always do this with your hips on the floor. We'll bend and press. Now, if you feel like it, for the last 5, you could extend your legs, bringing yourself into a full reverse plank. And we bend down an inch and up an inch, and down an inch and up an inch. Inhale, exhale. We have 2 more, and then we're going to do a little pulse. So you're going to bend your elbows down that inch, and it's little pulses up, up, up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more. Press up. If you're still bent kneed, press those hips toward the ceiling. Head can go in line with the spine or chin to chest for 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. And if you want a little fold forward, take out the arms, breathe. And then we're going to come all the way over onto our stomachs. Go ahead and bring it down. Let's start with the hands underneath the forehead. Legs are about hip distance apart, thighs are turned down. That tailbone is reaching toward the wall behind you, so you've got that little lift in your low abdominals. And we go for our mini swan. So we hover head, hands, and chest, just an inch or two, and then control it down. Inhale, we'll hover lift. Exhale, control it down. Inhale, hover up. Exhale down. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. Now let the legs come a little wider at the foot, about mat width. Heels can turn in to face each other if you like. We're going to take the arms, myself back slightly. We're going to take the arms out overhead, making a V with the arms. So the whole body is going to lift up, finding that Superman position. And then we inhale center, or inhale reaching. Exhale, bend the elbows, pull the shoulder blades down the back. Inhale, reach it overhead. Exhale, pull the shoulder blades in and down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull. Gaze is on the floor. So we don't have the chin tucked toward the chest, but we don't have the gaze going toward the wall in front of us either. There's energy through our legs, feeling the outer edges of the seat. We're going to do 2 more just like this. We're going to do 1 more. And then we're going to come down, hands underneath the forehead, relax the body. Bring those legs back in about hip distance apart, thighs turn down, and then bring the arms straight over the head. So we're going into our slow swim. You're going to take your right arm and your left leg, lift them up with your chest, and then slowly lower down. Left arm, right leg, lift up and lower down. We take an inhale as we go up and an exhale as we come down. Inhale up, lengthening the spine. Exhale to come down. So 1 more on each side, nice and slow. And then you can keep the slow measured pace going, or if you want to, lift up, find that Superman position, and then make your flutter go a little faster. And we inhale for a count of 4. Exhale for a count of 4. Inhale, count of 4. Exhale, count of 4. 2 more rounds of breath. 1 more round of breath. And then we release. Hands underneath the shoulders. Let's press up and back, find a child's pose. Take a nice deep breath or 2. Let your body relax a little bit. And then we're going to come into a forearm plank. So we're going to take those elbows right underneath the shoulders. Chest is right in between the shoulders. Let's go back to the knees first. Even if you know you're going to come to full plank, start on your knees. Heels up toward the hips. Spine is parallel to the floor. And what you're going to do is chest drops. So we're going to take the chest, lower it down an inch. You'll feel your shoulder blades come inward. Then lift your chest up an inch. Feel the shoulder blades move apart. So we inhale to come down. Exhale to come up. Inhale down. Exhale up. And you want to make sure this is driving from your chest. So it's not driving from our hips or our belly or our rib cage. Everything moves as a unit. Inhale down. Exhale up. If you feel like it, hold your plank. Curl your toes under. Find that full plank. And chest goes down an inch and up an inch. And down an inch and up an inch. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do 4 more, and then we get a break. Always feel free to come back to your knees or just to hold a plank. Let's do 1 more. And then we're going to take those knees down, find a quick child's pose. Breathe. Maybe roll out your wrists if you need to. Or we weren't on our hands, so you may not need to roll out your wrists, but maybe you need to shake your arms. And we're coming back to that forearm plank. So if you know you want to stay on your knees and you just want to hold and focus on your breath, awesome. If you feel comfortable in a full plank, elbows are right underneath the shoulders. We're going to come into that plank, and then it's a little rock forward, rock back, rock forward, rock back. Range of motion doesn't have to be big. So the shoulders are going to move forward at the elbows, and then they're going to come right over the elbows. Move forward of the elbows, right over the elbows. Inhale forward, exhale back. Remembering that we can always go to that knee plank and hold. We have just 2 more. 1 more. And release. Knees down, find that child's pose again, or any other stretch that works well for your body. Breathe. And then we're just going to finish with our last plank up on the hands. So we've got the wrists right underneath the shoulders. You could do this on your forearms if that's your preference. We're going to start on the knees. So walking back, heels toward the hips, pressing the ground away with that upper body. So if you're doing this on your knees, it's going to be a tap out. You're lengthening one leg. Pull back. Tap out. Pull back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's just do 1 more on each side. And the reason we're pulling those heels in is that keeps us forward of our kneecaps. Now you could keep that going, or if you want to, curl the toes under, come into that full plank, and lift one leg, tap down. Inhale up, exhale down. You could always just hold your plank and breathe. Inhale up, exhale down, keeping that leg fairly low so you're not arching your back. We're just going to do 1 more on each side. I can feel my arms. I'm sure you can as well. And knees down and child's pose. No more planks. That's good news. And as you breathe, I'm just going to check our time. Doing great. So we're going to finish on our sides today. So go ahead and just pick a side. Doesn't matter which. Lay down. If you have a mat, you can line your spine up with the back edge of your mat. Otherwise, you want to think about ear, shoulder, rib, hip, heel, all lining up together. Bottom arm can be a pillow, or you could actually grab a pillow since you're at home and put it underneath your head if that was your preference. And remember always to engage the core in the side. Instead of letting the ribs drop down, you're going to give those ribs a gentle little hover away from the floor, and that should activate the core. So we're going to keep this very simple. Top leg goes to the bottom front corner of your mat, or if you don't have a mat, it's just slightly out in front of you so you can see it. And we're going to go up and down. Inhale, exhale. Knee is pointing straight ahead at the wall that you're facing. Ribs are slightly lifted, keeping that little hover going. And we're using the exhale on the way down to engage the inner leg, to find that mental squeeze that slows us down, that engages the low abdominals. 2 more. We have 1 more. Bottom leg comes, or top leg rather, comes to a hover parallel to the floor, and we draw a small circle in the air with the legs. So your circle is size. It's dependent on your ability to keep your torso and your hips still. So if you notice yourself doing a lot of rocking, make it a smaller circle. It could be the size of a quarter. But if you've got that control in your center, you make it a little bigger. And we take a full breath every time we circle. You want to challenge your core a little bit more. Take that top hand and place it on your hip. It'll tell you that your hip is still, but it will also keep you from using your hand as a prop. So we're going to reverse the direction of the circle. Fill a full breath for every circle that we draw, controlling the movement. And sometimes it's easy to forget to actually breathe into your core when we're in side lying. So really think about using that full breath. Last circle, leg is going to stay parallel to the floor. And we're going to sweep it forward without going into C curve. And then we're going to sweep it back without arching. So your range of motion is limited by your ability to keep your ribs and hips connected. We're going to come forward on an exhale. Go back on an inhale. If you had the temptation to reverse the breath, you wouldn't be wrong. You can breathe either way with this one. So just make sure you're breathing in on one, out on the other, and you're keeping that middle of your body as still as you can possibly keep it. We're going to do 2 more. Remember, you're avoiding C curve, you're avoiding the arch. It's all neutral. And then relax that top leg. So we're going to bend both knees, feet line up with the hips, and we're just going to do a little clamshell. So we open the top leg and close it. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. You're looking for that little squeeze right at the top, outer edge of the seat. We're going to do a few more of these, and then we're going to change it just slightly. 1 more. Now take that top leg, give it a little hover off the floor. You're going to turn the knee downward, meeting the top knee to the bottom knee, toe points up. And then you're going to turn the foot downward, meeting the other foot, knee points up. So we go knee down, foot down, knee down, foot down. Your hips are still quiet, your core is still lifted, and you're rotating in that hip joint. So if you think about the bones in your thigh, spinning, ball and socket joint. Let's do 2 more. We have 1 more. Now go knee to knee. Find that internal rotation. It's okay to let your chest close a little bit, and that top hand comes in front of your chest on the floor. You're going to push that top leg up and back, and then pull the knees together. Push up and back like you're pushing toward the top corner of your room where your ceiling and your wall meet, and pull in. Let's exhale as we push. Inhale as we come back. Exhale, push. Inhale to come back. And again, if you wanted to reverse the breath intuitively, not wrong. A lot of side lying is just, what are we thinking about? What are we focusing on? We're just going to do 4 more. 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. And relax. And if you want to give it a quick little tap out, we're going to go around to the other side because we're starting to run out of time. And we're going to stretch that spine out nice and long, lining everything up, taking the ribs, giving them that little hover. Top leg goes either to the front corner of your mat or just slightly out in front of you where you can see your foot. And we go up and down, squeezing into the outer edge of the seat. Inhale up, exhale down. Try to create something, some resistance on the way down. So I happen to have a bunch of balls in the room, stability balls, little balls. So I'm going to think about taking like a ball and squeezing it, pushing it, or a balloon. Think about trying to pop a balloon between the thighs every time you close. We're going to do just a few more of these. Do one more. And that leg goes parallel to the floor. And then we start to draw those circles, keeping the hips quiet, keeping the torso quiet. Make sure you're taking a full inhale, exhale for every circle that you draw. So think slow motion, no momentum helping out those muscles, as tempting as it might be. And if you feel a lot of movement, make that circle smaller. Let's go ahead and reverse the direction of the circle. Take it the other way. Still breathing that full breath for every circle. And if you notice you feel both legs or your top leg is getting tired faster, both legs work here. One stabilizes. Let's hold that leg parallel to the floor. And let's sweep the leg forward without going into C curve. Sweep the leg back without going into an arch. So my preference would be to exhale on the way forward, inhale on the way back, but you could do the reverse, especially if you find yourself arching your back. Then use that exhale as you bring that leg behind you and think of zipping your core, like a big zipper going up your front. Inhale forward, exhale back if you want to. And try to keep that foot at the same level as your hip. That's where that work happens. We're going to do two more of these. Definitely feeling it more on this side. One more time. And release that top leg. If you need to, give a little tap with your fist and let's find clamshells. So we open the top leg and close the top leg. Still that little hover in your rib cage. You can breathe either way, but I tend to inhale on the open, exhale on the close, just so I get that engagement with the inner leg and the low core. We might run over by about 3 minutes today. If you need to scoot off, I certainly understand. Let's make this our last. And then you're going to take that top leg to that little hover, and then you're going to turn down, knee meets knee, turn up, foot meets foot. So the knee points toward the floor, knee points toward the ceiling. And if you can, place that top hand on your hip so that you know the hips are not moving. Think about that ball and socket joint. Inhale, knee goes down. Exhale, knee comes up. We're going to do 3 more sets. 2 more sets. Last set. And then we turn the knee down. Turn the chest slightly toward the floor, top hand in front of the chest on the floor, and then take that top leg, press up and back like you're going for that corner where the ceiling and the wall meet, and then pull the knees together. Press back, pull in. Exhale as you press back, especially if you notice when your leg is going out and up, You're releasing your core. Use that exhale to pull those core muscles in, and then inhale. Exhale. I don't know about you, but this is the one that gets me. We're going to do 4 more of these. Really squeeze and release. Squeeze. 2 more. We have 1 more. And release. Let's roll it over onto our backs. We'll do a quick little figure 4. The right ankle crosses left thigh. Knee opens. You can stay right here. I might stay here for a moment, or you can bring both legs up in towards your chest. Just breathe. Let that outer hip that we just worked so much get a good little stretch. If you feel like it at any point, if you're not already there, you can always bring the legs in. And we're going to come down and switch sides. The left ankle crosses over the right thigh. Left leg opens. If you want to stay here for a little bit, feel free to stay here. Legs can come toward the chest at any point. Deep breaths. Nice big exhales to help release the muscles. And when you're ready, come on down. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Allow the legs to open. Arms are at our sides. Flip your palms up toward the ceiling, and if you need to walk your shoulders down away from your ears, go ahead and do that. And then just close your eyes, and we're just going to finish the way we started, with nice big exhales and relaxing the jaw. So every exhale, let the 2 halves of the jaw release away from each other. This might sound weird, but make sure your tongue isn't pressing up or down, but it's just hanging out. The beauty of doing this at home. In a studio, sometimes we feel awkward, like if our mouth is hanging open or whatever. But at home, where no one can see you, to have a little more freedom, really relax. We're just going to take a few more deep breaths. And if you prefer to exhale through your nose for this, so your jaw can just fully go, feel free. When you're ready, just let those legs come together. Maybe bring the knees into the chest, little rock, side to side. And then as you very slowly and in a relaxed fashion make your way up to seated, I will come and unmute